On CEO Agenda today, we're going to be taking a look at the banking sector here in Thailand. And one of the leading banks is, of course, Krungsri Ayutthaya. And with me, I'm very privileged indeed to have the latest CEO of the bank, and that is Janice Van Ekeran with me. Sawadee ka.
Sawadee ka. Thank you for meeting with me today.
Yeah. How do you feel, being a foreigner and, of course, the first foreign female CEO of the bank?
For me, it actually is very much a privilege. I came out to Asia in 1997. I'm originally from the U.S., but I moved to London in 1992 after I finished my MBA, because we were very much going through an analysis of what's going to be going on in the world. And one of the things we spent a lot of time is talking about the globalization and how the world is changing. So for me, to have the chance to leave the U.S., spend 6 years working in Europe, and then come to Asia, and now being in Asia over 15 years, it's actually been quite a fun career ride for me.
Before, of course, you were the CFO of the company. How have you seen, the changes with this company ever since, GE Capital came in?
It actually has been a lot of fun, because if you look at Krungsri, we've been a key cornerstone in the banking industry since 1945. So we have a very traditional franchise. With GE coming in, it was fantastic because it brought in new capital for us. So it really gave us the opportunity to supercharge and energize the direction of the bank going forward. So we took a very strong franchise. We had over 500 branches across the country. We expanded in terms of very loyal employees, and we then partnered that with GE's very strong risk management, corporate governance orientation, operational excellence in processes and quality. And as a result of that, we've actually been able to grow by leaps and bounds over the last 6 years. We've brought 5 major acquisitions in the last 6 years. It's really been transforming what we look like as a bank. So it's really an excellent partnership. It brings together all the values of Krungsri, all the values of GE, and putting those together, we've become a much stronger whole. So you've seen us move over the last 6 years to be #1 now in the personal loan space. We're #1 in credit cards, #2 in auto hire purchase. We've strengthened our SME and our corporate value propositions. And so we're actually quite excited to where we are today.
So with all of that happening at this time, and you just coming into your position, how do you feel, being with this company for quite some time now, but now, of course, in a very big position? How do you feel about that?
Oh, very excited. It's always great to be coming into a new role. As you said, I've been CFO for 6 years, so I've had a chance to really work and be inside a lot of the major transformation agendas that we've been going through, and as we've been growing and strengthening our brand. As CEO, I'm excited to continue that. I think one of the things we always are talking about is, are we at the tipping point yet? So many things are aligning for us. Since I've been here, the first 3 years we focused very much on strengthening the foundation. So we were looking at how do we improve our risk management profile, for example. And you've seen our NPLs have dropped dramatically, now down to 2.4%, less than that. So top of the market. We've seen our infrastructure change in terms of the investments that we've put in the branch. The second 3 years, we really turned from the inside restructuring to the outside. And so we've been focusing on really evolving our brand. So you've seen us go from the yellow to now a bright yellow on a maroon gray background with a make life simple value proposition. We're finding that that is really resonating with our customers. We've seen our brand preference rise dramatically over the last 2 years. But we couldn't do that without the strength of our employee base, and I think that's one of the really exciting things for me. We've partnered with Gallup in terms of taking employee measurements on satisfaction and engagement. Those numbers have risen dramatically over the last 2 years, and so what we see are people that are actually excited to come in the morning to the office to see what we can do in terms of making good on our Make Life Simple value proposition, and that enthusiasm can't help but spill over to our customers, and I think that's really where we're seeing it pay off for us now.
Now, of course, I don't mean to be a sexist, but we have a lot of leading ladies in the world today. Christine Lagarde, the IMF chief. In Thailand, we have many leading female CEOs. Do you think that there's a difference in how you manage versus if it was a male role, or is there no difference?
I think,
and what is your personal strategy in handling the human resource?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to the individual. One thing that's really important to me, and one thing that we really drive in our team here at Krunze, is diversity. So I think it's not necessarily is male better or is female better, it's how do we leverage all of the different types of gender, of ethnicity, of culture. If you look at our management team, we're a Thai bank, but we have not only Thais, we have Indians, Malaysians, American. We really are looking at how we can bring together the most diverse team. It brings with it its challenges, because it in turn creates differences, because everybody's coming from a slightly different point. But when we're all working together and we're all sharing what we've experienced and where our background brings us from, we actually end up with, I think, much more diverse and broad-based and smarter decisions going forward. So I'm not so sure it's really all about male or female. It's really leveraging everybody, and that's one of the things I really try to focus on. We have got a very talented team here. It's not just a team of people that have been with the bank forever. We've got that central core. We've brought in from our acquisitions a great group of people from GE, a fantastic group of people from AIG, and most recently, just a year ago, we acquired the HSBC retail banking franchise here in Thailand. And so as you bring in all the different cultures and experiences, it makes really for a lot of fun in the workplace when we're all sitting around talking about how can we add new innovations to the banking industry. Banking really isn't boring.
That is a very good point. It's not so boring. Oh, but the interesting thing that you're talking about, and I want to talk about this with you, because I'm sure it's something that every organization has to work on, and that is, the culture. And you say that very brilliantly. You have a wide variety of diversification here in terms of backgrounds. How do you fuse that together? Because often in businesses you have the issue of the traditional Thai culture in an organization versus the international standards or beliefs. How do you put that together, and what do you say to those as an advice for how to manage this?
I think that's a really interesting question, and I don't think we have any of the, we don't have all the right answers. We continue to work on that. One of the key challenges is when you're looking at blending, how do you continue to value all of the things that have brought us here today, and yet position ourselves to make sure that we're going to survive into the future. And so certainly, at GE, we would talk about GE is the only company in the Dow Jones that was there from the original back in the 1880s. How do we ensure that we're positioning ourselves to survive longer term? So it's all about honoring our past and then looking at what we need to do to make sure we're positioned to succeed in the future. So a lot of that is around, for example, mobile banking. Many of our customers love coming into the branch and having a chance to talk to our customer service representatives. But there's a whole new generation of people that are now coming out of universities that are busy and they're living life on their phone. And so what can we do in terms of making banking simple for that group of people going forward? So we're looking at mobile banking applications. It's making sure that the traditional ways are still there while we're moving forward to the future.
And talking about that, there has been a really big brand change for the bank, Krunze. Definitely, if you compare it from the old or not old, like some years ago, you saw you could say a less brighter yellow. Now you have a big campaign with big bang products. Tell us briefly what has it evolved into right now?
Yeah, I think, as we talked about with the brand, it really is. We want to make it that bright yellow. We want to make an impact. We want people to say, wow, this is a bank, this is where I want to be. And part of it is really coming up with innovative products. I mentioned the mobile banking, making life simple. You don't have to come into the branch. You can be at home watching television in the evening and basically paying off your credit cards, transferring money between accounts, topping up your kid's mobile phone, as we were doing last night. So there's many things you can be doing in addition to the traditional ways of coming in to your branch every day.
But when was that changing point? Was there a changing point? Was there like aha kind of a point where yes, we do have to change? Like when did it occur, and how has the challenges been? I
think it really started with the partnership with Bank of Ayutthaya and then with GE coming in, because the value proposition was, hey, we can be a lot more than we are today. So let's partner together and let's design a bank that's basically going to be very broad-based in terms of supporting consumers, supporting SME, and supporting our corporate sector. So if you look at us, we're most broad-based. We're actually 50% consumer and 50% SME and corporate. And so we have that blend. I think the other thing that's unique about us as a value proposition going forward is that we really want to be able to be in a position to serve all of Thailand. So if you look in the consumer space, banks typically are always working with the high net worth and affluent individuals. Thailand has a vastly growing middle market now, middle income. We have a lot of offerings for that group through our Krunzi Ayutthaya brand, our First Choice brand, Krunzi Auto, Car for Cash program, but we're also moving and looking at how can we better serve the unbanked or the underbanked in Thailand. So through our Sisawat branch, which is now expanding, we're up to 240 branches across Thailand now. We're actually going out and doing small loans to individuals that are really just trying to get started. So the smaller SMEs, and so providing support to them. And unlike the bank, where you have to come in and it's very proper and formal, with Sisawat it's very informal. They're actually going out, they're meeting our customers actually out in the field, and they're talking to them where they're working. So they don't have to go away from their stand, they don't have to leave the wet market, they can actually be served right there, receive receipts so they have a trail of the transactions they've done, and it's all about convenience and helping them aspire and meet their goals going forward.
Okay, well, we have to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll talk more about this as well as other issues that are very big indeed in terms of what's been going on with the Thai economy, the baht appreciation, and all of that right up next.